Alright guys, check this out. Beautiful Snickerdoodle cookies, and just in time for the holidays. You guys are going to really enjoy this recipe. Well, howdy folks, welcome back to Texas Cooking Today. On this episode, we're going to be making Snickerdoodle cookies, a wonderful tasting cookie that's really common in the holiday season. So I'll tell you what, wonderful recipe. This is a heritage recipe. This is one that I inherited. This was my mother's recipe. I grew up eating these cookies, and they are delicious. And I remember the holiday season sitting there watching Mom. She would be making cookies. She would be making cakes, and I would watch the details, exactly how she did it. Because Mom's recipes were not only popular at home, they were popular with everybody who knew her, who had tasted her cooking. So I paid attention. Anyway, this was one of those fabulous recipes that I got to enjoy as a boy, and now I get to share it with you. So let's head into the kitchen and let me show you one of my mom's fabulous recipes. These are Snickerdoodle cookies. Come on guys, let's go. All right, wonderful. We have all of our ingredients already out here. Let me explain everything that we have, guys. First of all, I've got 2 sticks of butter down in there. That's 1 cup of butter that you're going to be needing for this recipe. On your flour, get ready to write this down if you haven't already. That flour, 2 3/4 cups flour. You can use an all-purpose flour, bread flour, whichever you prefer on this. They'll work. The sugar, I have 1 1/2 cups granulated sugar. 2 eggs. Right here in this bowl, I have 2 tablespoons of that same sugar and 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. In a little bit, we're going to mix those together. That's the coating for the outside of the cookies. The flavors, a little bit of salt. Here I have 1 teaspoon vanilla, 1 teaspoon baking powder, 2 teaspoons cream of tartar. Now guys, let's get over here and start creaming the butter. Come on. Alright guys, now we get on with this recipe. And if you are thinking at first, uh-oh, I don't have a mixer, I can't make this. Yeah, you can make it. You can still make this by hand. You can use a whisk, like you see sitting right back here, and a simple rubber spatula. Okay, so very, very simple items will make this as well as a mixer. I like using a mixer simply because guess what, folks? We have modernized in this world and we have power tools to help us in life, and I enjoy using those power tools. I've gotten older, I've done the arm method, and now I enjoy doing the power tool method. And you don't need a big mixer either. Small mixers, little hand ones, if you want one of those little electric guys, they work good. Let's go ahead and get our flour and other dry ingredients combined. Now this is something I like to do before I ever get started with any of the other making. That way it's kind of out of the way. All of the ingredients are mixed in properly and we don't get a clump of one chemical or the salt in one spot on our cookies. It's all dispersed evenly. The way I learned when I was younger was using a sifter. I can go ahead and get this flour out of my way for the moment. Alright, as we mentioned earlier, we had that butter. Now the butter needs to be room temperature so it's soft. You see how that paddle cuts through it easily? That's the way I need my butter. Now let me explain what I'm about to do, guys. It's not just about softening the butter. It's about also getting some air worked into the butter, all right? Part of good cooking making, part of a good baking process is if you can work it hard enough to get air in there. Now if you're doing it by hand, this is where you use the whisk. You soften the butter at first with your spatula. Once it gets soft enough, you use your whisk and whisk it until it becomes light in color and much lighter. in its texture. And that's when you're getting that air worked into it. And that's what we're going to do here. Okay guys, I tell you what, let's go over here, get a little closer view at what's really happening. Here we go. I'm going to give it about 1 minute to cream and get light. Alright guys, that was about 1 minute worth of beating at a fast speed. So what I'm going to do now is hit it about another 30 seconds, and then I'm going to start creaming in the sugar, okay? And we slow it down for that. Alright guys, if you notice I slow it down and we start gently adding in that sugar. Don't drop it in all at once. Something you need to know about mixers. If you throw a whole bunch of stuff into them all at once, even at a low speed, a lot of times they'll just throw it right back out at you. We'll stop it just long enough to break some of that butter free from the sides. And this will start mixing up and creaming much better. Okay, now that we have those two kind of combining with each other, I'm going to go for another high-speed cream, and we're going to do this for 1 minute again. Okay guys, now we have this to a wonderful, smooth, kind of creamy consistency. I mean, look at this, first of all, down in here. So our texture's really nice, all right? Always do your additions at a lower speed. So our eggs. Okay, let's go ahead and put in that vanilla. Look at the structure that's forming. And we're going to speed it up and cream it for 1 more minute. Again, we work in air each time we do this, guys. Alright guys, that has had a moment to cream. And again, look at the volume that has grown on this. We haven't put that much ingredient in there, but what's happened is we have been working in that air again, changing the texture of our base fat. I'm going to start putting in my flour, again, allowing it to work its way in slowly. Now, something I would like to forewarn you about. Do not give the kids, do not give children, or anybody else for that matter, that beater to lick. Remember guys, you have raw egg in this that has been coming up in temperature. And that raw egg, in its raw state, can cause problems. We need to get that egg cooked up as a part of that cookie before it's safe. Alright guys, look at this. It's beautiful. It's set up, it's ready to go. All we have to do is get it down on our cookie sheet. Now let's move over to the next station. Okay guys, I have taken my cinnamon sugar and I simply whisked them together just like this. That's all that takes. Once you get those together, we're ready to get making those balls. Now guys, when it comes to dishing up that cookie dough, you can do it by hand, in which case you can glove up. I like to glove up just because it makes for a lot of easier cleanup. A couple of ways you can do this. You're going to see a lot of people use these little scoops. And they're going to scoop out something like that. Alright, and it'll make a nice little ball. And that's a good estimate right there. You're going to want about a 1-inch diameter ball. And that's about what that is. So all I have to do is take that ball, put it right down into your sugar cinnamon mixture, give it a bit of a twirl in that. There we go. Once it's coated, it goes straight down onto the cookie sheet. You don't have to press it out, guys. Now here's the other thing you might want to know. You don't have to use a scoop. You can just use your hands like you saw me do there. Looky there, there's my ball. I'll roll it, my sugar and cinnamon, and put it right on my pan. So if you would, just keep going on yours. I'll keep going on mine. We'll catch up when we get a couple of these pans filled. Or if you want, go ahead and fill several of them. But remember, that dough doesn't save very well, guys, because you only put out carbon dioxide one time. The cookies will still cook up, but they just won't have the same texture as when they were freshly made. Guys, if you'll notice, those are not perfect by any means, and they don't have to be, all right? They just have to be kind of round and on that sheet. You don't have to shape them, you don't have to press them out. You just let them develop into what they will develop into in the oven. Okay guys, our oven's at 400 degrees. Spacing is even on those cookies. Let's get them on down in there. There we go. Now, we want to give those 6 to 9 minutes. Keep an eye on them, guys. Depends on how you like your cookie cooked. Oh man, look at these. Guys, we just pulled these out of the oven. They're cooling down. And in a little bit, they're going to be ready to eat. I am so looking forward. Now guys, give those cookies about 6 minutes to cool. And look at that. There they are, guys. Wasn't that fun? I'll tell you what, you know, the whole baking thing is so much fun. I've always enjoyed this. When I was a little kid, I loved to bake, and I guess not much has changed. So I need to pick one of these cookies out. I just need to pull one out. First, I want to show you kind of a nice brown bottom, nice and light on top. Oop, looky there, it just broke open. Just a little bit of crunch, a little tiny bit with this soft center, not gooey soft, nice and cakey. See the structure? That's what we worked so hard to build up. You get that cakey structure. If it's cake-like, you hit it on the head of the nail, guys. If it's just kind of soft and doughy, it's because you undercooked it. The idea is crispy, soft, proper processing gives it to you every time. Oh man, these are good. Thanks guys. Pardon me, I just have to eat. Thank you so very much for watching this episode, and thank you for watching Texas Cooking Today and for subscribing. Guys, if you haven't yet subscribed, I would ask that you please do so. Also, please click like on this video. That really helps me out in the placings and rankings on how people find me in a search engine. If you would, a comment right down there. Comment box, guys. On that comment box, I love answering those. It's a lot of fun. If you have questions, you're probably going to get an answer, okay? So don't be afraid to type one out. So I'll tell you what, guys, thank you so very much again. And if you would do one last thing for me, just have a good day. Bye-bye.